Chosen one. Pause for a moment and breathe this in. You are not here by accident. You didn't stumble onto this message. You were summoned. Heaven aligned this exact moment, this exact second, because God just released something over your life that cannot be reversed, revoked, or restrained. You are standing at the edge of a supernatural breakthrough, a divine wealth transfer that has already been written in the Spirit and is now breaking into your reality. Chosen one. This is not anticipation anymore. This is activation. In the realm you cannot see, the floodgates have opened. What was held back is now released. What was delayed is now delivered. What was restricted is now overflowing. You are stepping into a season where heaven funds your purpose, where provision meets you before you even ask, where the promise God whispered to you in your darkest season begins to manifest openly. As it is written in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, the vision may seem slow, but it will come. It will not delay. Anointed one. Your spirit already feels the shift. The atmosphere around you is changing. God is not preparing to send overflow. He already has. Now open your heart, steady your spirit, and step into what has been divinely appointed for you since the beginning. Chosen one. By the time you finish hearing this part of the message, something in your spirit will begin to unlock. Not because of my voice, not because of the words, but because heaven has already begun to rearrange things around you. You may not see the movement yet, but you can feel it. That subtle shift in your chest, that quiet stirring you can't quite explain, that is spiritual confirmation. That is the evidence that God has already stepped into your situation and begun releasing what was once held back. Chosen one. You've spent so much of your life trying to make sense of the delays, the disappointments, the moments when you thought you were being overlooked while everyone else seemed to be moving forward. But hear me, heaven was never ignoring you. Heaven was preparing you. And I say that as someone who has walked through seasons where nothing made sense. I've known the feeling of pouring everything out, only to see nothing immediate come back. I've known the ache of praying in the dark and wondering if God heard a single whisper. But every time I thought I was being delayed, I learned later that I was being developed. Every time I thought God had forgotten me, I discovered He was building something so precise, so intentional, so supernatural that it required silence before it became visible. Chosen one. This is where you are right now, standing between what was and what is being released. You're not waiting for overflow. You're standing in the moment, right before manifestation becomes undeniable. And the reason you're hearing this now is because heaven wants you to recognize what season you're in. This isn't a season of barely enough. This isn't a season of scraping by spiritually, emotionally, or financially. This is a season where heaven's resources are aligning themselves with your destiny. Your limitations have expired. Your wilderness chapter has been closed. The weight you've been carrying is lifting, not slowly, but suddenly. There's a reason your spirit is responding so strongly, because deep down, your soul knows this is your confirmation. You've walked through too many trials for this moment to be random. You've endured too many closed doors for this breaking point not to be divine. You've cried prayers that nobody heard. You've sown in seasons when you barely had anything to give. And heaven responds to sacrifice. Heaven responds to faithfulness. Heaven responds to the one who refused to let go when everything in life said, quit. Chosen one. Listen carefully. God didn't just open a door. He built you a gate only you can walk through, a gate designed for your assignment, your anointing, and your purpose. And that gate is now swinging open. That's why things are shifting so quickly. That's why people who once ignored you will begin to reappear. That's why opportunities that once seemed unreachable will begin to feel strangely within your grasp. When heaven releases overflow, everything connected to your name has to respond. And I want you to hear this in your spirit. Overflow is not something you earn, it's something you step into. It's the result of alignment, obedience, and timing. Think of the promise written in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, "The vision will come and it will not delay." Divine timing is never late, it's always strategic. So chosen one, as you breathe in this moment, I want you to prepare your heart, because what's about to unfold in your life is not a small shift, it's a supernatural release. It's the kind of movement that leaves you saying, "This could only have been God, and this is only the beginning." Chosen one. As we step deeper into this message, I want you to understand something sacred. Overflow is not merely an increase, it is a divine recalibration of your entire life. When God releases overflow, He does not add to what you have. He transforms what you are. He shifts your identity from someone who survives to someone who carries spiritual authority, abundance, and undeniable momentum. You may think you're waiting for money opportunity or breakthrough, but heaven is actually waiting for you to recognize who you've become in the process. Chosen one, think back to all the seasons where you felt like you were pushing a mountain with your bare hands. The nights when you looked at your situation and whispered, "God, I can't keep doing this." The moments when you envied the ease you saw in others. The times you questioned why the doors didn't open for you as quickly as they opened for everyone else. I need you to hear me. With your spirit, your delay was not a punishment. It was a protection. God wasn't stopping you from rising. He was preventing you from entering places that were not prepared to hold what you carry. I've lived this. There were opportunities I prayed for that never came, partnerships I thought were divine that fell apart, seasons where I felt invisible while others skyrocketed. But every single time I circled back later, I realized why God blocked it. I would have entered too early, too underdeveloped, too unprotected. And had I entered then, I would have lost what God intended to give me now. Chosen one, heaven has been protecting your oil. Your anointing was not meant to be poured out in the wrong environment. Your overflow was not meant to be shared with people who would have drained you dry. And now that your time has arrived, heaven is removing the weight that held you down. You are stepping into a different dimension of favor, a dimension that does not require you to force anything. Do you hear me? No more forcing, no more begging, no more waiting for people to validate what God already spoke over your life. You are moving into a space where blessings begin to chase you, not the other way around. Chosen one, the atmosphere around you has changed. That's why you've been feeling the urge to reorganize your life, to clean your environment, to distance yourself from certain people, to dream bigger, to speak differently, to expect more. These are not random impulses, they are prophetic signals. The spirit realm always shifts before the natural realm catches up. What you feel is evidence of what has already been released. Overflow is not on the way, it is already in circulation. Heaven's storehouses are open, and the resources tied to your name have been dispatched. This is why your spirit feels restless, stretched, awakened. This is why you're sensing that something big is coming, even if you can't describe it yet. It's because your spirit has already stepped into the next chapter, and your physical reality is catching up. Chosen one, your limitations have expired. Your old season has collapsed. What blocked you before will no longer block you now. What resisted you before will crumble at your feet. You are not the same person who walked through the fire. You are the one who came out refined, and heaven is about to prove it. Chosen one. As we continue, I want you to truly grasp something that most people never understand about divine overflow. Before God releases anything into your hands, He releases clarity into your spirit. And that clarity is beginning to rise within you right now. You may not have words for it yet, but you feel it. Your discernment is sharper, your intuition is louder, your peace is more selective. These are signs that heaven is reshaping the way you see yourself and the life you're walking into. Chosen one. Overflow is not only about what you receive, it's about who you must become to carry what God is entrusting to you. Your next season requires a version of you that cannot be manipulated, drained, or distracted. That's why the people who once had access to you suddenly feel distant. That's why the old habits you tolerated no longer feel acceptable. That's why situations that used to overwhelm you now barely touch your spirit. You are evolving. You are ascending. You are being spiritually upgraded because the magnitude of what's coming into your life demands a stronger, clearer, more aligned version of you. Listen closely. Chosen one. You didn't lose certain people. Heaven removed them. You didn't miss those opportunities. Heaven redirected you. You weren't isolated. You were incubated. Your spirit has been in a spiritual greenhouse, protected and cultivated for a very specific moment. And that moment is now. I've walked through seasons where I wondered why I suddenly outgrew environments that once felt comfortable, why friendships faded even though nothing bad happened, why I could no longer tolerate certain conversations, mindsets, or energies. Only later did I realize God was pruning me for the promise. Overflow requires pruning because nothing dead can survive the weight of divine abundance. And chosen one. You have been pruned not to diminish you, but to prepare you. That's why the heaviness you once felt is lifting. That's why your mind is clearer. That's why you're beginning to think differently about your future, not in fear, but in expectation. Heaven is preparing you to handle blessings without sabotage, opportunities without fear, and relationships without insecurity. The old you couldn't have managed this next chapter, but the version of you rising right now, oh, you are ready. You may not feel ready, but your spirit knows you are. Chosen one. Your overflow is not just financial, it is emotional, spiritual, relational, and generational. God is enlarging your capacity. He is strengthening your inner foundation. He is expanding your influence. That's why your dreams have been getting bigger. That's why your perspective has been shifting. That's why you've started seeing glimpses of a life that once felt impossible. These visions are not fantasies, they are prophetic previews. They are heaven's way of showing you what has already been written about you. And I want you to hear this gently but firmly. You cannot carry overflow with a survival mindset. The days of shrinking, apologizing, doubting yourself, or waiting for permission are over. You are stepping into a season where you must walk with holy confidence, not arrogance, but clarity, not pride, but purpose. Chosen one, you're crossing into a chapter where the blessings assigned to your name are finally catching up to you. The release has begun. The shift is active. The doors are opening, and heaven is not whispering, it is declaring over you. This is the moment your life begins to multiply. Chosen one. As we move deeper into this word, I want you to understand something that will shift the way you see everything. Overflow is not an event, it's a realm. It's a spiritual environment, a divine frequency, a position in God where lack loses its authority over your life. When heaven releases overflow, it doesn't simply place blessings in your hand. It places you in a new atmosphere where blessings begin to recognize you, locate you, and respond to you. Chosen one. This is why things around you have felt different lately. You've sensed an invisible pressure, but also an unusual peace. You've felt stretched, but at the same time, strangely protected. That tension is the evidence of transition. The old realm is letting go of you, and the new realm is pulling you in. You are standing between seasons, the closing of the wilderness and the opening of the promised place. And the shift is already irreversible. I know what this feels like because I've lived in that in-between space, where you can't go back to who you were, but you're not fully walking in who you're becoming. It's uncomfortable, it's confusing, it's lonely, but it is also the clearest sign that heaven is repositioning you for something that requires deeper roots, purer faith, and greater strength. Every person I've ever seen walk into supernatural overflow first had to walk through this internal rearranging. Before God expands your life externally, He expands your capacity internally. Chosen one, that's what's happening to you. Your spirit is growing. Your discernment is sharpening. Your hunger for more is increasing. You're no longer satisfied with just enough because heaven has awakened a deeper knowing inside you, an awareness that you were born for greater, built for higher, and called for more. And the reason you feel that pull is because overflow is not coming, it's already released. This is why certain things you tolerated before now feel too small. Why you've stopped entertaining conversations that drain your energy. Why you've lost interest in environments that once felt comfortable. It's because God is shifting your spiritual altitude, your rising chosen one, and the air is different at this level. Overflow requires separation, not separation from people out of pride, but separation from energies, habits, and mindsets that cannot follow you into your next dimension. The old patterns would collapse under the weight of the blessings God is about to place in your life. You cannot carry a generational anointing with a temporary mindset. You cannot walk into divine wealth while entertaining the voices of fear. You cannot rise into supernatural purpose while still clinging to environments that never recognized your value. Chosen one. Heaven is not asking you to strive. Heaven is asking you to surrender, because surrender positions you for acceleration. The moment you stop wrestling with God's timing and start flowing with it, everything begins to align. You've already noticed the signs: random peace in moments that used to overwhelm you, sudden clarity about decisions you were confused about, unexpected strength rising inside you when you should have felt weak. These are not coincidences. These are indicators that your life is shifting out of the natural into the supernatural. And hear me clearly, overflow is not just what you will receive, it's who you are becoming, a conduit of blessing, a carrier of abundance, a living testimony of what happens when heaven steps in. Chosen one. You are crossing into a realm where scarcity cannot survive, and where every step you take is backed by divine supply. Chosen one. As we continue, I want you to lean in with your spirit, because this part of the message carries a weight that only those who are truly aligned will feel. Overflow is not just the release of blessings, it is the reversal of cycles. When heaven steps in, patterns that ran through your family for generations begin to crumble. Doors that no one before you could open suddenly swing wide. Battles that defeated others in your bloodline become effortless victories in your hands. You are not simply receiving overflow, you are becoming the turning point of your entire lineage. Chosen one. You've probably wondered why your life has been harder than most. Why you had to fight battles others didn't. why you were chosen to walk roads that were steep, lonely, and covered in resistance. It's because heaven placed something in you that wasn't given to those before you, the authority to break what they couldn't. You carry a spiritual assignment that requires strength forged in fire. And even when you didn't realize it, the battles you survived were training you for the blessings you're about to carry. I've learned this personally. Every trial I thought would break me was actually building me. Every season of lack was sharpening my vision. Every moment where I felt alone was developing a deeper connection between me and God. Looking back, I see now that the very hardships I hated became the foundation of the authority I walk in today. And chosen one. The same is true for you. Heaven never wastes pain. Your suffering was not meaningless. It was preparation for the magnitude of the overflow being released right now. And this is why the enemy fought you so relentlessly. He wasn't fighting you because of where you were. He was fighting because of where you were going. He saw the oil on your life, even when you couldn't. He sensed the calling that was forming, even while you were doubting. He recognized the shift long before you had language for it. And he panicked. Because once a chosen one reaches the moment of release, nothing in hell can stop the manifestation. Chosen one, hear me, you are stepping into generational overflow. Not the kind that lasts a year. Not the kind that lifts you temporarily. I'm talking about blessings that outlive you. Favor that extends to your children and their children. Provision that rewrites your family's story. You are the one heaven has trusted to change the direction of your bloodline. This is why certain financial patterns are breaking. Why opportunities are starting to appear out of nowhere. Why you feel a quiet confidence rising within you, even if your circumstances haven't fully shifted yet. Your spirit knows what your eyes haven't seen. You are walking into a realm where provision meets purpose and abundance meets assignment. And this is important. Overflow doesn't only flow to you, it flows through you. You are becoming a vessel, a distributor, a carrier of supernatural supply. God is positioning you to bless others, to open doors, to create opportunities, to build what your ancestors never had the chance to build. The weight you feel is not pressure, it's purpose. Chosen one, the shift is already active. The patterns are breaking, the gate is open, and your life is about to testify that when heaven releases overflow, nothing stays the same. Chosen one. As we step into this next part of the message, I want you to understand something that transforms everything. Overflow is sustained by identity, not effort. The moment you realize who you are in the Spirit, the way heaven responds to you changes. And right now, heaven is responding to you differently because you are different. You may not see it in the mirror yet, but your spirit has shifted. Your posture has shifted. Your atmosphere has shifted. And when identity rises, provision follows. Chosen one, think about the moments when you doubted yourself the most, when you felt unqualified, unseen, or forgotten. Those were not signs of weakness. They were signs of transition. Before God elevates you externally, He elevates how you see yourself internally. The enemy tried to make you believe you were insignificant, but he attacked you so hard because he knew you were dangerous. You were chosen long before the evidence appeared, and now the evidence is catching up to the calling. I've lived this truth. I remember seasons where I kept asking God to change my situation, only to realize later that He was trying to change me. I prayed for doors to open, but heaven was preparing me to walk through them without fear. I asked for increase, but God was strengthening the version of me that would not sabotage the blessing. Overflow doesn't come when you feel ready. It comes when you become aligned. And chosen one, You are aligned in a way you've never been aligned before. This is why your thoughts have been shifting, why you've been craving peace instead of chaos, why you've started longing for purpose over comfort, why certain desires that once controlled you have lost their power. Your spirit is maturing, your faith is stabilizing, and your identity is rising. You are being positioned not as someone who waits for overflow, but as someone who walks in it. Chosen one. The realm you're stepping into requires a different mindset, a mindset of abundance, clarity, and spiritual authority. Scarcity cannot follow you where you're going. Fear cannot anchor you where God is elevating you. And doubt cannot survive in a place where heaven has already released your portion. Overflow requires expectancy, and you are beginning to expect differently. What used to intimidate you now feels possible. What used to drain you now feels beneath you. What used to break you can no longer touch you. And here is a powerful truth: overflow is attracted to order. That's why your spirit has been urging you to organize your life, cleaning your space, adjusting your habits, managing your money with intention, distancing yourself from draining people, reconnecting with your purpose. These are not random impulses. These are prophetic preparations. Heaven will never pour abundance into a vessel that isn't ready to carry it. And chosen one, heaven has found you ready. Look at your life closely. Notice how your energy has become more selective. Notice how your peace has become priceless. Notice how your discernment has become sharper. These are the inner signs that the outer blessing is now inevitable. Overflow manifests externally only after it manifests internally, and the internal shift has already taken place. Chosen one, hear this with your whole spirit. You are no longer who you were last year, last month, or even last week. The old version of you lacked confidence, doubted their worth, and questioned whether God truly had more for them. But the version rising right now, this one walks in divine authority. This one expects miracles. This one is ready, truly ready for the release heaven has scheduled. The transformation within you is the proof that the overflow around you is next. Chosen one. As we continue, I want you to realize something profound. Overflow is not only about abundance, it is about alignment with divine strategy. Heaven does not release without purpose. When God pours out more than enough, it is because He is positioning you as a solution, as a carrier of breakthrough, as someone whose very life becomes evidence of His faithfulness. Overflow is not random, it is assigned. Chosen one. You've probably felt a strange clarity rising inside you lately. It's as if you're beginning to see life from a higher vantage point. What once confused you now makes sense. What used to drain you no longer has power. What used to intimidate you now feels small. This clarity is not natural, it's prophetic. Heaven is aligning your mind with the assignment attached to your overflow. I've lived through this shift myself. I remember when God began elevating my perspective. Suddenly, I stopped panicking about things that used to keep me up at night. I stopped worrying about people's opinions. I stopped letting fear dictate my choices. And without even realizing it, I stepped into a new mental realm, a realm where I wasn't praying just to survive, but praying to understand purpose. That is what is happening to you right now. Heaven is upgrading your thinking so you can handle what's being released. Chosen. One, here this overflow flows to those who are ready to steward influence, not just receive blessings. You are being groomed for responsibility, holy responsibility. God is preparing you to manage opportunities, lead with wisdom, make bold decisions, and occupy spaces that require spiritual maturity. You're not entering a season of blessings, only you're entering a season of impact. And this is why the inner shift has been so intense. Your spirit has been shedding layers, old fears, old insecurities, old mindsets, old emotional patterns. Not because something is wrong with you, but because heaven refuses to let anything limiting follow you into your new season. Overflow and old wounds cannot coexist. Abundance and self-doubt cannot walk hand in hand. Divine provision demands a healed vessel, and healing is exactly what has been happening in you. Chosen one, your capacity is expanding. You've noticed that you don't react the way you used to. The things that once offended you barely touch your spirit now. Draining relationships no longer appeal to your heart. You crave depth, truth, stability, purpose. You're no longer satisfied with shallow conversations or small thinking. Your spirit is demanding more because heaven is pouring more. This is also why your dreams have shifted, why what you want now is different from what you wanted years ago. Your desires are maturing, your vision is refining. You are being aligned with your divine assignment, and your overflow is tied to that assignment. You are stepping into the kind of provision that comes with purpose, not pressure, with clarity, not confusion, with peace, not striving. Chosen. One, heaven has not only released resources, heaven has released direction. Expect new ideas, new strategies, new creative impulses, new opportunities that feel strangely right. Expect divine nudges, gentle but unmistakable. Expect moments of sudden insight where answers arrive without effort. This is the mind of overflow, the mind heaven gives when it is preparing you to carry something greater. Chosen one, you are not rising by accident. You are rising by design, and heaven is about to show you why. Chosen one, as we enter this final part of the message, I want you to receive this truth with every part of your spirit. You are standing at the threshold of manifestation, not the idea of it, not the hope of it, but the living reality of it. Heaven has already shifted in your favor, and the natural realm is now preparing to catch up. What has been released spiritually is about to take shape physically, and your life cannot remain the same. Overflow is not something you chase. Overflow is something that recognizes your alignment and gravitates toward you. And whether you realize it or not, you have stepped into alignment in a way that is rare, powerful, and costly. You surrendered what God asked you to surrender. You endured what He asked you to endure, and every quiet yes you whispered in the dark has now risen before the throne of heaven. Your obedience has triggered this release, even when you were afraid, even when you felt unprepared. That kind of faith does not go unnoticed in the courts of heaven, and your faith has spoken louder than any words ever could. This is why things are shifting so suddenly, why opportunities appear, why your spirit feels lighter, why ideas return, why hope rises, because you have stepped into a divine current, a supernatural flow that carries those who are aligned with their assignment. Overflow is not only the blessing you receive, but the person you become because of it. You are evolving into someone who thinks with clarity, moves with purpose, speaks with wisdom, leads with humility, and carries influence with grace. Heaven is preparing you not just to receive overflow, but to sustain it. And hear me, chosen one. There is a weight to overflow, but you are anointed for it. The strength, the sensitivity, the authority you've developed were all crafted for this exact moment. Now, expect sudden favor, unexpected provision, divine connections. You didn't pursue clarity where there was confusion, acceleration that defies logic, peace that makes no sense, and answers that come without striving. You are entering a season where the supernatural becomes your normal. Heaven did not bring you here for a small release. It brought you here for a complete shift, a permanent elevation, a new identity, a new reality, a new rhythm of life marked by abundance and divine orchestration. You are not simply walking into overflow. You are walking as overflow. The blessing is not just coming to you, chosen one. The blessing is being carried by you. This is the moment everything changes. Chosen one. As we come to the close of this sacred message, I want you to breathe in the truth of this moment. Heaven has moved on your behalf, and you are standing in your Kairos time. This is not a future promise. This is not a distant hope. This is a divine now. The overflow God released over your life is already flowing, already circling your name, already aligning the very steps you are about to take. You are not waiting for confirmation. Confirmation is waiting for you. Chosen one, lift your spirit for a moment and hear this. With your whole being, you are stepping out of limitation and into appointed abundance. You are moving from survival into supernatural supply. You are entering a realm where what once resisted, you must now bow, where what once delayed you must now accelerate, where what once confused you must now reveal its purpose. This is your divine transfer, your holy shift, your heaven-timed release. I speak blessing over you now, blessing over your hands, blessing over your home, blessing over your mind, blessing over every dream heaven placed inside you. May the path ahead be illuminated. May every door meant for you open without resistance. May every connection assigned to your elevation find you with divine accuracy. And may peace, heaven's own confirmation, rest on you as a seal of what God has already done. Anointed one, walk forward with boldness. Walk forward with gratitude. Walk forward knowing that the one who released your overflow is the same one who will sustain it, protect it, and multiply it. You lack nothing. You are aligned, appointed, anointed, and divinely backed. If this word resonated in your spirit, let your agreement echo in the comments. Declare Amen, or it is done as a sign of faith and alignment. And if this message blessed you, share it with someone who needs to be reminded of heaven's nearness. Chosen one, step into your week with expectation. Look for the signs. Watch for the shift. Stay in the flow of the anointing. Your overflow is already released, already active, already unfolding.